Liz.
Okay. Well, I want to say I've known Lee for a long time. I can't remember how long ago, but I first met her when I needed.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Thank you, Liz. Sorry about that.
My old dog, Sheba, when I needed help, and she's worked on my current dog, both with animal communication and Reiki when I've needed it. And it's a really special, like extra thing that you can get when you can't get answers from yourself or your dog or your vet. It's just a really neat way to go directly to the animal, whether it's the communication or the Reiki. It's just really special to connect with the dog that way, or a horse or a cat. It could be any animal really, but every time Lee works with Mimosa, I'm just blown away by how happy the dog is and the information that I can get to help me help the dog. So I'll tell you just a little bit about Lee, but I really hope that you enjoy the lecture and the talk, and that you can get something out of it for yourself or your animal. She works on both people and animals. So Lee's been a Reiki master and teacher for 23 years, and she has multiple healing certificates and modalities under her belt. She's an animal communicator. She is certified in the healing touch for animals, integrated energy therapy, and she's a third certified crystal healer and a board certified hypnosis. She's also definitely an animal lover. She is a member of the ESR rescue for springers, and she volunteers regularly with a horse rescue in Ojai called the California Coastal Horse Rescue. And she takes ladies up there that have studied with her, and we volunteer our time giving them Reiki and just helping them feel at home and heal from their wounds. So I've also taken classes with her. She's a teacher, and I've studied under her since 2016. So she has a lot to offer, and I hope you enjoy her talk.
Welcome, Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's a delight to be here tonight. And I thought I would share a little bit about my personal doggy history with you as well. I have been a dog lover, as Elizabeth said, my whole life, an animal lover my whole life. When I first got married, way back in the 60s, our first dog was a little mix. I think at that time we called them all Americans. I don't know what you guys call them these days, but she was the smartest little thing, and we thought she was going to be almost lab size, and she never grew over 10 pounds. So she was my miniature lab, and every time I showed up to a non-AKC obedience match, everybody would go, darn, Babs and Daffy are here, because we always took first place. She was so cute. She was so tiny, and she would prance looking up at me, and just, she was trained all the way up to utility. And we also had a beautiful Weimaraner, and I saw somebody on this had a beautiful Weimaraner laying next to them. So our Weimaraner was named Von Chieftain Silver Beauty, and she was a love. We showed her in obedience and breed, but unfortunately, I had to have her spayed, and we didn't get to continue the the trial work because my husband passed away, and so I kind of had to get out of that. But at the time, we were very active in companion dog training club. Milton Gibeon was our trainer. Way dating myself back there, probably absolutely none of you know his name. But he was amazing, and we loved the whole family. In fact, I'm still in touch with his daughter, Eleanor. And so we had an amazing start with the dog clubs. I ring stewarded for many, 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 many shows, and can sympathize and empathize with any of you gals that are still showing or doing the trial work as well as the steward helping the judges. So I've got a little bit of history with the dog shows and I love it. I've been away from it for a while because I've gotten busy with other things and haven't had a dog trained to show for many years. I have had, besides the Weimaraner and the Little All-American, I ended up having 3 German Shepherds, 3 Springer Spaniels, and have been very active since 1992 with the ESRA, English Springer Rescue America rescue group. And I have fostered many, many, many Springer Spaniels, and currently don't have any Springers in the household because unfortunately they've all passed, but I have a beautiful little Cocker Spaniel now whose name is Polly, and she's my trainer demo dog, and she's currently in the living room on the Reiki table. So I thought tonight that I would share with you a little bit about what Reiki is and a little bit about what animal communication is, how I work, and I have a slide presentation that I thought I would show you guys. What I didn't ask you was, are we set up that I can share from my screen?
Yes,
Okay,
no problem.
I forgot to ask that little bitty detail.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I'll bring up the first slide and let me know if it's not visible enough for people. We can do something different.
Looks good.
You can see it already.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's me and Polly at Christmas. And you can see my beautiful big brown-eyed girl. And so let's start out by talking to you about what Reiki is and what I do with it. And I always tell people when I'm asked what I do, is I tell people that I help them with their animal problems. And sometimes I help pets with their people problems. And lots of times, pets have people problems. So, and I also use Reiki and communication skills together because they meld so wonderfully. I can do one and or both, and they work together. So let me go on here. What is Reiki? If I could see all of you, I would ask you to raise your hand. How many of you do you know, have you had experience with Reiki? Have you ever had a Reiki session yourself? No? Yes, I know you have, Liz. I see Shiro saying, no, you don't know what Reiki is? Okay. The system of Reiki comes from Japan. It was started there in the 1920s. Hands-on healing techniques in Japan were very popular. And a man by the name of Usui Sensei, Mikao Usui, created the system of Reiki as a system of hands-on healing, of popular healing. And the words in Japanese are right here. And these are 2 kanjis in the Japanese alphabet. The top one is Rei, and the bottom one is Ki. And so it's pronounced Reiki. And it means spiritual energy or life energy. And so what I do and what I train my students to do is to build our own life energy up with healthy living, healthy thoughts, clean thoughts. There's precepts in the system that we learn how to not be angry, how to have compassion for ourselves and other, and so how to build your own spiritual or life energy within your body, so that we have breathing exercises, meditation exercises, so that we build up the energy that is natural within each one of us. And every living being has Reiki, and that energy flows with our breath. So we can help control it and build it with our breath. And what I teach my students to do, once they've learned how to build it within themselves, is how to share it. And that can be shared, obviously, with people. It was originally designed to be shared with people, but as it has grown, and in the United States, it's also become extremely popular to give to animals. Because just like the little Weimaraner I saw earlier, all cuddled up to your butt next to you, because wherever you are, so they are right there, right with us, right? And we know that our animals come when we're being quiet and we're meditating, and they'll come and sit with us. So they enjoy the energy too. And my first Springer Spaniel was when I was learning Reiki, was my first demo dog, because she taught me, hey, Mom, I like that. What is that? I want some too. So she taught me that not only was it really good for people, that animals really love it and enjoy it as well. So here's somebody you might know, Mimosa and Elizabeth. And I brought this beautiful picture on because you can certainly see the love and the communication going on in the eyes between Mimosa and Elizabeth. And Mimosa never takes her eyes off of Elizabeth anyway, you guys know that. But Mimosa is sitting on a Reiki table, and we're out at a horse show, and we were delivering Reiki to anybody that wanted to stop in our booth that day. And we were also putting dogs that were there visiting up on the booth table. And so we put Mimosa up there. And as you can see, Elizabeth's hands are not directly touching Mimosa. And that's the way Mimosa prefers to receive her Reiki. So a little bit off of the body. It doesn't have to be a direct touch. And what's wonderful about our animals is that they tell us how they like to receive it. They can back up to you and say, oh, right here, please, on my butt. Or they can sit across the room from you and go, thank you very much, I'll take it over here. That's what a lot of cats do. And some of the horses we work with, they like to accept it from across the stable or the corral. And then there's others that, like I say, they'll back right up to you and show you where they want it. So Reiki can be delivered hands-on or hands-off, and it's equally effective and wonderful. And I thought I'd show you a little bit of the benefits of the Reiki for animals. It is amazingly wonderful and accelerates whatever natural healing process is happening within the animal. If they have had an infection, you can offer them Reiki, and it will affect the natural healing process and accelerate it. It's helpful in increasing the effectiveness of any other therapy that the animal happens to be going through. And let me say this right up front, I always work with vets and through vets, and I am not a veterinarian. My doctor, in the title in the introduction that they sent to you, is theological. So please always work with your vets. But then I love to come in behind a vet and work in acceleration with the vet's recommendations. Reiki on its own, however, has wonderful capacities to help detoxify the body and increase circulation. And by the way, I've listed benefits for animals, but of course, these are all the same benefits for people. It increases our energy and stamina and mental clarity and focus. And so this is why it's really a great therapy to do for animals that are in competition. You can have somebody get a Reiki treatment before they go in the ring and have a great performance. Have them helps their focus. It can also be extremely relaxing. Most people will go to sleep when I work with them, and so do most animals. So when people ask me, what is my superpower gift? I can put a whole room of people to sleep.
Nice.
I can just allow my energy to extend to the whole room, and I can put everybody to sleep. Guarantee I put all the dogs to sleep. So it's relaxing. The body relaxes, the muscles relax, and it's very stress relieving. And it can also balance all of our energy systems that are within each part of our body. Because if we think about it, we've got a digestive system, we've got a circulatory system, and the Reiki kind of helps blend everything and energize all of our energy systems. It can help relieve stress due to emotional upsets and trauma. And I've got a couple of stories as we're going to go through that'll give examples of some of these things. It helps relieve physical pain of all kinds. And I think pain relief is one of the biggest reasons that I get called in and asked to do Reiki sessions for animals. It aids in digestion. It can speed up the absorption of medication. And sometimes you can, resulting in the need for less medication, but always again work with your vet. But where this is wonderfully helpful is if you've got an animal maybe that's just had surgery and they're on tramadol or some kind of pain medication. With some Reiki, you can sometimes, the need for as much pain medication can be reduced. So it can facilitate pre and post operative care, and clears negativity or negative counterproductive behaviors. So if you have a behavior issue, that's where the combination with communication and Reiki is an amazing tool. We can talk to them about it and then help with the Reiki and the communication to get their behaviors to come in line a little more along your line of thinking as opposed to their line of thinking. Reiki enhances positive and desired behaviors. You can, with communication and the Reiki, really help let them know that they're doing exactly what you want them to do. And it's a great training aid. Okay, so I thought I would share some pictures of some of my current clients. And this is Sally. And I saw her today. And she is receiving Reiki on her right knee there because she's about 6 weeks out of TPLO surgery. She had her knee, the tendons blown in her knee, and they're trying to decide whether they're going to do the second knee either right away or wait a little bit. But as you can see, she's conked out there on the chaise, and she's really enjoying the Reiki. And you can tell from the sleepy eyes here that she's very relaxed and very comfortable. So she loves the Reiki when I come. And her hair is just about grown out. because it's been about 6 weeks, but this whole leg was shaved, and but she's doing amazingly well. The vet is very pleased with her progress, and she's been getting Reiki for the full 6 weeks, once a week since her surgery. And this is her brother, Louie. And Louie is about 14, maybe 15. We're not really sure. And he has congestive heart failure, and he has also some kidney failure. The vets expected that they would lose Louie about 2.5 years ago. And he has had Reiki every week, for sure for those 2.5 years, and maybe even a little bit before, but on a sporadic basis. And I've seen Louie every week for 2 years now while he's been progressing through his congestive heart failure. But he's doing really well. What we're noticing now is that he's starting to have a little bit of cognitive failure. So, but when I saw him today, I was sitting there holding him like that. And sometimes his mommy, Danny, tells me that he doesn't walk on his walks, that he sometimes meanders or isn't really into the walk. But today he told me that they took a new route on their walks today. So sometimes when we think he's not cognitively with it, guess what? He is. He knew very well today that they'd taken a very different route. So, and he liked it, he told them. So they were very pleased. And they're also amazingly pleased. And he's not suffering. He tells me that he's very comfortable in his body still. He has absolutely no immediate need to leave his body. He's very comfortable. And besides, if he leaves, who would control his sisters? He's very, Sally and Abby would be without their big brother. Okay. This is Trey, and communication and Reiki can help with, I had mentioned, emotional issues. So Trey started acting out when mom and dad were getting a divorce. And Trey was doing very unusual behaviors, barking, and was upset when dad wasn't at home anymore and mom was having trouble controlling her and doing different things. So we had a communication session with her. We gave her some Reiki and explained the family dynamics and what the plan was for the family dynamics. And her behavior the next day went back to normal. Once she understood what was happening, she wasn't maybe completely thrilled with it. Nobody was, but once she understood what was happening, that emotional distress of not having daddy in the house was understood. This is little Pollo down here, and I don't know if you can see, he's got a little collar on his neck because he has beak cancer. And so he was under treatment for beak cancer, and this kept him from scratching his beak so easily. And he did eventually succumb to it, but he would be so cute. He would sit on my shoulder and accept the Reiki. I would hold my hands out like this away from him, and he would sit there and fluff up just like it was nighttime, like a bird does. He would fluff up and go to sleep and just loved the Reiki. I could either give it to him while he was in his cage, or sometimes he would sit on my shoulder. So even our bird pets love Reiki. And this is Andy. And this was a end of life conversation that we were having with Andy. And so I think one of the things that I'm asked to do a lot is end of life decisions, helping the families and the animal decide when it's appropriate for the animal to leave the body and go into spirit, and how they want to go about that. If they want to go naturally, do they want help? How they want to go about that help. And it is so reassuring to the families to get that the animals input on that. And it takes some of that guilt feeling away that we always have when we have to do such a thing. And I have an awful lot of amazing stories that I could tell you. There was a Doberman once that it was end of life decision conversation that we were having. And when I first connected with her, she told me charmed. And all I could hear was charmed. So when I was relaying this to the owner after our conversation, I told her about the charmed, and I said I didn't quite understand. I think maybe she was saying she'd had a charmed life, but I didn't quite understand why she kept repeating charmed to me. And her mom goes, oh my God. She says, I taught her when she was a puppy, when she greets people, to put up her paw and as saying, charmed, I'm sure. So that was her greeting to me, was charmed, I'm sure, at our very opening part of our conversation. So she was doing what she was trained to do in her greeting to me, was telling me she was charmed to meet me. So little things like that happen that I would have no way of knowing, that of course let the owner know that I'm definitely working with their particular animal. And this beautiful white shepherd is Bugsy, and he and Amante both happen to have hip dysplasia as their physical issues. And Bugsy did really, really well for many years, having regular Reiki sessions with me. And then the family moved to Florida. And not too long after they went to Florida, I received this picture of Bugsy now in a wheelchair to help him walk, because I wasn't there to give him his Reiki, but hopefully they'll find someone. I attend many dog shows now, not as a performer, but this is a best friends dog show one year, and this little dog here was on my Reiki table getting a tune-up before his agility trial, so that helped her in her performance. And this dog here, I was giving his foster mom a treatment on my Reiki table, but he could feel the Reiki and he just got so excited he had to come over and ask me for some too. He wanted some Reiki too. Isn't that cute? So they feel the energy, they know the love, they recognize it as being amazing, and he wanted some too. Okay, so here's a little bit about animal communication. It's a form of telepathic communication, and I've learned how to go into a nice deep state of meditation, and I listen to talk to your animals. So in my listening process, lots of times I am taking dictation. I have to hurry and write it down because they're talking so fast that I have to write it down in dictation. Sometimes they show me videos, like a streaming video, and I'll see them walking down the path along the lake with the trees over here. So sometimes I get full streaming videos or still pictures. And so I am lucky that I'm able to receive and listen good enough that I can have different ways of receiving the information they want to tell me. I also am able to feel their emotions and their physical distress, where they're having pain in their body, and they can tell me about it, and we can talk about it and figure out a plan of how to handle it. And then we also can discuss the end of life decisions. And lots of times people ask me if I'm a pet psychic. And no, I'm not what I would call a pet psychic, as I don't tell their future. I talk with them and I listen. And then I relay to their person what they've told me. We ask questions and then I relay what they've told me. Whoops. So this magnificent Frisian, his name is Caruso, and he does dressage. And this picture over here was in his stable, and I was giving him Reiki, and something told, oh, lunch came. I don't know if you can see this bale of alfalfa down here. Lunch came, so I had to stop with the Reiki session, and I came out of the corral, and I thought, I want to take a picture. And all of these thousands of orbs showed up. And I don't know if you know anything about orbs, but they're energy angels and devas, and showing that there's just lots of love and energy floating around us as we were doing our session. And this is Caruso at a show. I got to go to him, watch him compete in a show. And this was before he went into the ring, and I had given him Reiki, so you can see his soft eyes. And this was a practice out at his ranch. And I had done a communication with him and Reiki session with him that day. And he told me that his right hip was hurting because Pam, his trainer, was being a little bit over aggressive with her hip placement of trying to get him to make a canter turn. And in doing that, she was throwing her weight on his right hip. And so he let me know that his hip was hurting him a little bit. So I relayed, we gave him Reiki, and I relayed that little message to Pam. And after that, oh, with the message, by the way, that he fully understood exactly what she wanted. So that she didn't need to throw her weight around quite so much. So after that, she didn't throw her weight as heavily, his hip got better, and he made that turn perfect. And this is Boris and his family. And this is one of the stories where you could say it was more of a people problem than an animal problem. And Boris was trained to be, originally he was going to be a guide dog. And he kind of failed out of guide dog training because he was too playful. But he was also extremely smart and dedicated, and he had a good work ethic. And so they trained him to be a search and rescue dog because he had amazing capability for that. And he was doing wonderful work, but his daddy was always worried about things, and daddy was overthinking things, and daddy was overly concerned, and daddy wasn't giving Boris the space to do what he had already been taught to do. So in our communication, Boris asked me to tell daddy, he says, I get it, I get it, I get it. That daddy could relax a little bit and let me show you, I get it. And so I relayed that to daddy, and guess what? No more problem. Daddy was able to relax with the certainty that Boris understood exactly what the various commands meant and how to retrieve. And he was a very successful search and rescue dog in Ventura. So, have we got any questions, anybody yet?
Not so far.
Okay. don't be shy.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and put any questions in the chat that you'd like.
Yeah. This is a little puppy that had an amazing story, and she was a, a little white papillon here, not papillon, Pomeranian, excuse me, words wouldn't come right. And she was a rescue, and Fiona unfortunately died way too quickly. And right after she was adopted, and was just heartbroken that she wasn't able to spend much time with her amazing new owner. And so Fiona, when she passed away, told us, I will be right back. I promise. I want to live a full life with her mommy, Summer. And 6 weeks later, I sent Summer an email saying, I think we need to talk, because all of a sudden I was hearing this, I'm back. And and Summer was saying, I have a feeling we need to talk. And as we got together, she found this breeder that had this cute little puppy. And I said, you need to send me a picture, because she's showing me she's got a round little noggin and a ski slope nose. And here's the picture. There was only 2 dogs in the litter, but here's her round little noggin and ski slope nose. And we picked her out of the litter, and here she is with her mom in exactly 2 months. Now that is extraordinarily unusual. Very unusual story. May not fit in with your belief system, but I experienced it. I heard her tell me she would be right back, and she was. She left in, what was it, October, and was like New Year's weekend, I was hearing, I'm back. So.
We have some questions now.
Okay.
At the time. Okay.
Sure.
So the first question is from Carol, asking, how do you determine if the animal would prefer not to be touched in Reiki?
Oh, okay. They give very clear signals. When you're giving off the energy from your hands or from your body, if they come right up to you and they're comfortable with you and you touch them, then you, I never go zooming directly in anyway. I always start off of the body to show them what it is, and I relax them gently. And then if they stay put and they want it, then they show me by curling up close to me or laying somewhere where it's easy for me to reach them. And if I show them what it is and they go, and they lay a little bit farther away from me, then I can work with them across the room and share it with them that way. If they come closer, then I can direct touch. But they always will let you know 2 things, how they want it and when they're done.
Great.
Yeah.
Second question is, how did you, this is from Lori, she's asking, how did you know that you had this inner talent to understand animals?
Oh, well, I kind of think I always loved animals. And it began to come more to the surface for me when I picked my first Springer out of the East Valley Animal Shelter. And none of the other dogs were paying any attention to me. They were scratching, digging, sleeping, could care less. And all of a sudden, my Springer at the end of the row was like, here I am, pick me, here I am, please pick me. I'll be so good, I promise. Just take me home, I'll be so good. it was just like that. It was so loud and so clear, and her little dancing behavior, and I stopped with her and I loved on her, and she was with me for 12 years.
Wow. So
She
Shiro is, oh, I'm sorry.
well, that's okay. She was the first one that let me know that she liked the Reiki.
Oh, great. And Shiro, it's kind of a follow-up question. Did you train at all to communicate with animals, or was this just a natural talent you developed?
Yes, I studied with Carol Gurney. She is located in Agoura Hills, and she has, I think, a couple of books out, and she is an amazing teacher. I will teach Reiki, but I don't teach animal communication. I probably could, but Carol is so amazing, and she's right here in our backyard, and so I lead the teaching of animal communication with her. So I'm certified through Carol Gurney and her institute.
Okay, great. And then Nancy was asking, our president, she said, I always heard that Reiki was painful in humans. Am I thinking of something different? And what's the difference between Reiki and cranial sacrum?
Oh, it's a different process. I'm not trained in cranial sacral, so I don't know exactly how to compare it. But Reiki is a non-invasive, very relaxing and soothing therapy. It's not a massage. It's not anything that is manipulative. It's just, I would either hover over the body or gentle touch, like just a light touch. So it's not anything that is painful. If somebody, I can't think of any time that it would be painful. Even when I've had painful surgeries or a painful back issue or something, when you apply the Reiki, it's soothing. So I can't have any experience with somebody saying that it's painful. Maybe you're confusing it with something or another therapy. I don't know. But when all of this COVID is over with, I'll come show you.
Be great. Okay. I think that's all the questions for right now.
Okay. Okay. Like Elizabeth had
Hold
mentioned.
on. I had another question.
Okay.
It just kept going into my first one. First of all, Carol was somebody that Tom, my husband who died, came out and saw with our German shepherds, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, I haven't had anything like that since, and it just makes me tear up to think of what she brought out of both of them. It was, I can only say, amazing. And then I may have been thinking of something different with the Reiki, but anyway, I wanted to say that yeah, Carol was amazing, and I would love to eventually sit down with you too.
Oh, great. Would love that. Yeah, Carol is amazing. I studied with her. I think her program was about 5 years that it took me to complete her program. And I was with her on my birthday, like December, the first week in December was always a training class for her classes as I was progressing through. So I spent many a birthday with her. And she's an amazing lady, amazingly gifted and talented. And I was very lucky to be able to study with her.
Yeah, if anybody ever wants to know what I experienced with her, I'd be happy to share it. But it was, yeah, it just, I mean, it blows me away today. So yeah.
Excellent.
So you had a good instructor.
Yes, thank you. As Elizabeth mentioned to you, I have spent 10 years giving my time as a volunteer to California Coastal Horse Rescue in Ojai. And these are two of their amazing horses. Bridge, who is an Arab, who didn't like people very much when he first came, and now he's a big love. And Pearl And you can see by Pearl's very relaxed blue eyes here how happy she is to be getting her Reiki. And the very first time I gave Reiki to a horse, for my corporate career, I was an insurance agent. And I was inspecting a home over here in Burbank in the Rancho area. And the horse was in the backyard, stuck in this little tiny cubicle. And I had just started learning Reiki. And so I'm walking around talking to this horse, taking the pictures that I'm supposed to take for my insurance inspection. And I walk by the horse and I say, nobody's around. I look around. Hi, sweetie. And I put my hands on her shoulder and I said, can you feel this? And she almost fell on me. She relaxed into my hands so deeply. She went, oh, and it scared me so much. Oh my God, don't fall, don't fall. So yes, obviously horses could feel it. And that was my very first time I had experienced 1,200-pound animals reacting to just a simple touch and having her acknowledge it so strongly. That was amazing for me. So you can see Pearl here extremely relaxed. And here's Cheyenne, and I want to tell you a little about his story. And this is 2009 when I was invited up to the horse rescue the very first time to help. I was invited up to meet Cheyenne. He was their problem horse in the rescue. He was close to being aggressive with all the handlers. Nobody except this gentleman over here would get close to him. And as you can see, he's lean and ribs are showing. His skin isn't in very good condition. And so I went in, they gave me their hardest case to see. Oh yeah, sure, you can come up, we'll welcome you. They're going to give me their hardest case to work with, right? So I stood with Cheyenne talking with him for an hour, trying to tell him what we were there, that we didn't want anything from him. He told me his story. Mexican handlers had used bang sticks on him, and so he was not a happy horse. By the end of the afternoon, he had worked his way into the corner of the corral, absolutely exhausted, not exhausted, relaxed with the Reiki. And I had one of my students with me. She was on one side, I was on his other side, and we were working his heart chakra on his shoulder, here and here. And all of a sudden, this was probably after an hour to an hour and a half of him accepting the Reiki from us finally, and he let out the most humongous sigh. It was so loud and so deep that his body shuddered. And three of us, the one person holding the rope at that time, her name was Audrey, and Susan and I, all three of us burst into tears. It was so huge, his release. And then he released 2 more times, each time with the third one becoming just a normal sigh. And right then I said, Cheyenne, I promise you I will be back again. I will come back next month. And I have been going back every month for 10 years. So this was August 2009. And then this picture was November 2009. And you can see his coat is already amazingly improved. He has put on weight, and he was out free grazing. And I was in the alleyway between the corrals at that time. And he came up and found me to ask for Reiki from me. The difference between August and November was amazing for this horse. And now this is him now. This is him 2011, strutting his stuff. He's an amazing horse. He's the rescue's, what do you call it?
Ambassador.
Would you say?
Poster boy.
Ambassador.
Poster child.
Poster
Yeah.
boy.
He's their, there's a word I'm looking for, but anyway, his story has been told in all the Ojai papers. The reporters come out to see him. They take pictures of him. He is their
Poster mascot.
yes, mascot. He's their everything. So he's really special. And I take a teeny piece of credit for helping him along his journey. But the amazing people at this rescue also have helped all of the horses here at this rescue learn how to be horses again. And that's amazing. So, and this is another horse that had a communication with, I've never met this horse in person. These pictures were sent to me. This is a different rescue. And his name was supposed to be Hyades, but everybody pronounced it Hades. And he was a racehorse. And when he was done racing, he was put into rescue. And when everybody at the rescue started calling him Hades, he got a real attitude problem and issues. And he didn't like the name. So in a communication session with him, he wanted a different name. And the volunteer that had called me about this, we had a conversation with the president of the rescue group, and she says, well, she didn't know that she could change his name, but she says, all right, we'll try it. And so they decided to call him Sunshine. And there was the most humongous improvement in his attitude and the way he was received by all of the volunteers. He was no longer dangerous, and everybody was able to love on him. So just something as simple as a name change, when the horse didn't like the meaning of what he was being called. Here's the horse rescue. This is my booth that Elizabeth has gone out to many times with us up at CCHR. I have all the pictures here that I've taken, and we talk to them, and we give free Reiki demonstrations. And that's Polly, she goes with us too. And here's some more beautiful pictures of Tico and Pearl and Amigo. And you can see from their amazingly relaxed eyes how beautiful the horses are and relaxed they can be with the Reiki. And here's some of our gals that have gone up there with us. I taught an animal Reiki class up there. Oh, who's this, Miss Elizabeth? That's when you graduated with your animal Reiki certificate from me. And here's my Springer Spaniel, Ginger. And I taught a class at the Burbank Animal Shelter. So this is just some of the fun things that I get to do to work with all these amazing animals. And this is Annie and Mosey, and they're amazing. And with a name like Mosey and a name like Annie, any guesses who's who?
The woman is Mosey.
The woman is what?
Mosey.
Yeah.
Well, you set me up for that one.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. But when I did the
Indeed.
when I did the first communication with Annie and sight unseen, I hadn't met them yet. I had picture, but I could not energetically tell them apart. Annie was Mosey and Mosey was Annie. They are so closely bonded that I had trouble telling them apart. But so this was an amazing relationship. that is still ongoing. Okay. I thought if you were interested, I could show you a couple of techniques. Do we have any questions first?
Well, we have a comment from Stephanie, who was mentioning that she's had herself the Reiki treatments and that they're very soothing. She enjoyed the movement of energy and it wasn't painful at all. And I think she got to the technique that Nancy was thinking of, which is Rolfing.
Yes,
Rolfing. Okay.
yes,
You should have known by the name of it that it was
I know.
going to be
Yes.
painful.
It was from the 70s. It was too many, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rolfing is a very painful massage technique.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
The mind has blurred. Yes.
I think, so Lee, we'll leave it up to, if some of the participants, if they only had an hour, they may have to leave, but I'm welcome to, I'm happy to keep the session open for those who are interested. If you wanted to give us a little demo, we would love that.
Okay. Yeah, I see. This is an acupressure technique. It's not Reiki. But of course your energy is going to flow through your thumb. But this is called the Great Wind Gate, and this is, if a dog needs some calming, this is their happy place. When a dog is getting acupressure or acupuncture, this is the first place they put the needle in, at the very top of the head. And you can kind of do the same thing with the acupressure. And very gently, you can press your thumb. It's right here in between the ears, almost in the soft spot. And you're not going to push really, really hard. It's just like a very easy, gentle pressure that you can feel as you go in. You can see their eyes relax. You can see this eye's already closing over here, and he's like, what you doing over there with the picture? But you can see Skipper here is already deeply relaxed. So this is called the Great Wind Gate. It's a gentle but firm pressure right here. And this would be if, like for the 4th of July, if dogs are extremely upset with the fireworks and they're trembling, this is a very nice thumb pressure that you can help them when they're trembling and scared with the fireworks. And I have one more here. If you have a dog that is having appetite issues, if they're not eating due to illness and they're maybe getting close to end of life issues, and this is called the base of the mountain, and it's right at the base of the nose here, as you can tell, right where the skin and the hair come together, and just a light finger pressure there again on the nose for maybe a minute if they'll let you do it for a minute, 30 seconds if they'll let you do it that long. But just a light pressure there will help increase their appetite and help at a time where they might be needing a little extra support for their eating. Okay, so those are 2 acupressure points that can help you with a dog that might have those kind of issues. And
Lee, we have Stephanie is actually demoing in real time on her dog, and the dog looks absolutely wiped out, relaxed.
I don't see it.
yeah, let's see here.
You need to
Gallery. I got it.
open your gallery. Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, and a Weimaraner.
Yep.
How do we make her big?
I can spotlight her.
Okay.
Hold on.
That's you.
Where'd you go? I know.
Okay, you're putting pressure between her eyes, and it should be up higher, higher, higher. A little bit higher, right about there. And use your thumb. Oh, she liked it between the eyes better.
There she is.
She liked it between the eyes better.
Like, oh, Mom.
Yeah.
You don't have the touch, Stephanie. Come on.
So Lee, Carla's asking if Reiki can help with fireworks, which I think you mentioned, and or separation anxiety.
Yes. Yes, it can help with both. The Reiki is, there she goes. Yeah.
Is that M?
Is that M? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that looks higher than what you were doing?
Actually, yeah, you can slide your, slide your fingers back a little bit more towards the top of the head.
Oh, I thought it was lower.
Right about there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's the spot.
Good night, M.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Perfect.
And Lee, you'll provide us with contact info, will you? That's
Oh, of
something that
course.
you could give to me and I could send out to everyone who was, everyone at the club. Mhm.
My
Are you seeing
website is
people
real
now?
simple. My website is real simple, animalheartstrings.com.
All right. I'll write that in the chat.
Yeah.
Are you seeing people now?
You know, the only ones I'm personally seeing is my little Louie and Sally, because I've been going to their home for 2.5 years. So they're the only ones I'm seeing in person right now. But
Okay.
I am doing communications. In fact, I had an emergency one last night into this morning for an end of life issue. So I can do communications over the phone. Reiki can also be done long distance, believe it or not, remotely. So we can try a remote session and or we can work something out. Sometimes we can do a patio visit or something. Have mask will travel.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, this is a little weird. My brother has a dog that will be very sweet and nice, and all of a sudden it will turn and bite anybody. It's bitten everybody who's visited the home. It's bitten my brother, his wife. The dog will be very sweet, and then all of a sudden it's like his eyes glaze over and he attacks. I don't know what's going on, and they keep giving him Prozac and Xanax, which I don't like that they're drugging up their dog. He's only 4 years old. It's a Doxy Pomeranian mix. Is there something? They live out in Ojai too. Is there anything that you could do to help a dog like that? I can't hear her.
Probably want to start with a communication session to see if the animal could tell me what they think is going on. Sometimes animals can't diagnose themselves because they don't know those kinds of words or that terminology, or they don't have medical training. But lots of times they can tell me what they're feeling or why they suddenly do that. And then it
He's
could
been
be,
thoroughly checked by a vet.
and what does a vet say?
Give him drugs. Vet said he's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard one because
I
in the
know.
Springer world, you know, we've heard a lot about Springer rage. So your rage,
Communication would be,
yeah.
I would love for you to hook up with my brother and do a communication, because it's driving him crazy. He can't have people over, or he has to lock the dog away.
Well, send him to my website and see if he can read my website and see if he thinks it's something he'd like to do. I'd be more than happy to help.
Thank you. I would like to talk to you about my dog who has issues. Since the fireworks, he's been insisting on sleeping in my bedroom.
Oh,
But we can do that. It's not as big a deal. I'll contact you as well.
okay.
Great.
Let him in, let him in,
Right.
for God's sakes.
Right. And that's a problem?
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
I've got 4. I don't
What?
have a big enough bed. My bed's not big enough for all 4 of them.
Oh, come on. Sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Liz mentions in the chat that that you've been doing Reiki for the CCHR horses as a group on Zoom once a month.
Right. Since we haven't been able to go up because of COVID,
Mhm.
we've done our monthly gatherings. We've done by Zoom, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
That's great. So let's say, does anyone have? Let's maybe take another question or two. We don't want to keep Lee here all night.
Well, I will say this has been great. I look forward
Thank you very
to
much.
Yeah.
seeing you.
Yeah, I don't see any questions, but Lee's encouraged people to get in touch with her. So I think any questions that occur to people later, they could ask her through her website. And
Sure.
just want to thank you again, Lee, for taking the time. It was wonderful hearing about it. We're all, let me unmute everyone so you can hear muffled clapping.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much. And this recording will be available if anyone missed anything, look at that, so you can look at it later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to your club. I hope you can get back to your meetings and competitions real soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Okay, good evening,
Good evening.
everyone. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Em.